everyone, welcome to Mind Facts. Today, we're diving into some powerful ways to help you break free from depression. It can be a really tough and isolating experience, and it's so important to remember that you're not alone. In this video, we'll be exploring 5 key steps you can take to start feeling better. So grab a cup of tea, get comfy, and let's get started. Okay, so the first step to tackling depression is like figuring out what sets it off in the first place, you know? It's like, if you're allergic to peanuts, you gotta know to avoid them, right? Same kind of thing here. There's this book, Feeling Good by David Burns, that talks about this whole idea of cognitive distortions. Basically, it's like these little thought traps our brains fall into, making us see things way worse than they actually are. Like, ever notice how when you're feeling down, everything just seems like a bigger deal? That's those cognitive distortions doing their thing. So what we gotta do is become like detectives of our own minds, you know? We gotta pay attention to those negative thoughts and be like, hold up, is this really true? Or is my brain just being dramatic right now? The book talks about all these different types of distortions, like all or nothing thinking, where it's like, if we're not perfect, we're total failures. And then there's catastrophizing, which is like taking one little thing and imagining the worst case scenario. It's wild. But the good news is, once we start recognizing these thought patterns, we can totally challenge them. Like, instead of being like, I messed up that presentation, I'm so bad at my job, we can be like, okay, I made a mistake, but it doesn't mean I'm a failure. Everyone makes mistakes. So yeah, identifying those triggers and those sneaky cognitive distortions is like the first step to breaking free from that negative spiral. It's all about becoming more aware of our thoughts and how they impact how we feel. All right, so once we've started to figure out those triggers, it's time to talk about routine. I know routine sounds kind of boring, but trust me on this one. When you're dealing with depression, it can feel like your whole life is just kind of chaotic and unpredictable, right? Like you might not even feel like getting out of bed in the morning, let alone sticking to a schedule. But that's exactly why having a routine can be so helpful. It gives you some structure, some stability, something to hold on to when everything else feels like it's falling apart. Think of it like this. A routine is like a safety net for your brain. When you're feeling super overwhelmed, it's easy to just get swept away by all the chaos. But if you have a routine, it's like you have this little roadmap to follow, even when you don't feel like doing anything. It doesn't have to be anything crazy either. Just like setting a regular sleep schedule, making time for meals, even just like taking a shower and getting dressed in the morning. These little things might seem insignificant, but they can make a huge difference. And the cool thing is, when you start sticking to a routine, you start building momentum. It's like each little thing you accomplish, even if it's just brushing your teeth, gives you this little boost of energy and motivation. So yeah, don't underestimate the power of a good routine, guys. It might seem small, but it can totally change the game when it comes to managing depression. Okay, so we've talked about identifying triggers and establishing a routine, but here's the thing. Sometimes we need a little extra help, and that's totally okay. There's absolutely no shame in reaching out for professional help when it comes to mental health. Think about it like this. If you broke your leg, you wouldn't just try to walk it off, right? You'd go to the doctor, get an x-ray, maybe even a cast. Mental health is no different. Sometimes we need a little extra support to heal, and that's where therapy comes in. A therapist is like a mental health coach. They can help you understand your thoughts and feelings, develop coping mechanisms, and work through past trauma. It's like having someone in your corner who's totally there for you. No judgment. Now, I know therapy can seem intimidating, especially if you've never been before. But trust me, it's worth it. It's like, imagine having a friend who's also a mental health expert, someone who you can talk to about anything and everything without feeling judged. That's what a therapist is like. And the cool thing is, there are so many different types of therapy out there, so you can find one that feels right for you. There's cognitive behavioral therapy, which focuses on changing negative thought patterns. There's psychodynamic therapy, which explores how your past influences your present, and so much more. So yeah, if you're feeling stuck or overwhelmed, please don't hesitate to reach out for professional help. It can make a world of difference. All right, so now let's talk about mindfulness. You've probably heard of it, it's like super trendy these days. But for real, mindfulness can be a game changer when it comes to managing depression. It's all about being present in the moment, like really paying attention to what's happening right here, right now, without judgment. It's so easy to get caught up in our thoughts, especially when we're feeling down. We start ruminating about the past, worrying about the future, and before we know it, we're totally disconnected from the present moment. But mindfulness helps us hit the pause button on all that mental chatter. It's like, instead of getting swept away by our thoughts, we learn to observe them without judgment. It's like watching clouds drift by. We don't try to control them, we just let them be. And the cool thing is, there are so many different ways to practice mindfulness. You can try meditation, which is basically like a workout for your mind, or you can try more informal practices like mindful walking or mindful eating. The key is to find what works for you and make it a part of your daily routine. It doesn't have to be anything fancy, even just taking a few minutes each day to focus on your breath can make a difference. So, yeah, if you're looking for a way to quiet your mind, reduce stress, and feel more grounded, definitely give mindfulness a try. It's like a superpower for your brain. Okay, so last but not least, let's talk about the importance of staying connected. When you're struggling with depression, it can be so tempting to isolate yourself from the world. You just want to curl up in a ball and hide from everything and everyone. But trust me, isolation is like the worst thing you can do. It's like fuel for the depression fire. When we isolate ourselves, we're basically giving our negative thoughts free rein to run wild. That's why it's so important to stay connected with loved ones, even when it feels hard. Talk to your friends, your family, your therapist, anyone who makes you feel safe and supported. And it doesn't have to be anything deep or serious. Just like grabbing coffee with a friend, calling your mom, or even just texting someone to say hi. These little connections can make a world of difference. Remember, you are not alone in this. There are people who care about you and want to help. So reach out, stay connected, and don't be afraid to ask for support when you need it. And there you have it, 5 powerful steps to help you break free from depression. Remember, healing takes time, so be patient with yourself and celebrate every small victory along the way. If you found these tips helpful, please like, share, and subscribe for more insightful content. Don't forget to comment below with your thoughts or any questions you might have. And as always, take care of yourselves and each other.